Hey everyone, welcome to part one of my in-depth review of the new slash updated Tau Codex out today. As always, my name is Jay, and in this video I'll be going over my first impressions, the new detachment, warlord traits, etc., the relics, which are called like supporting systems, and yeah, just a little bit about the Codex basically. So this isn't officially like it's a 7th edition codex, but it's an update. It's called an update from Games Workshop, which is a little odd to me because one of the things that there's a lot of new stuff in this codex. There really is. That it really hits me that there's a lot of stuff in the codex. Now that being said, pretty much nothing got changed in points costs. Nothing from a previous codex got changed at all because it's an update. But there is a lot of new things in this codex. In fact, I'd even argue there's more new things in this codex update than like Grey Knights. When they got updated to 7th edition, it wasn't an update, it was a brand new codex. They just lost a lot of models and got a new detachment, essentially, and some new warlord traits. More than even a couple other armies. Even Eldar, I'd say. This codex has a lot more new things than a lot of the previous codices for 7th edition. Like Dark Eldar didn't really get anything new when they got their new codex. Eldar didn't get anything new when they got their new codex. They got rule changes, but not that many new models. The Tau got a bunch of new models for this codex, and there's a new formations, and their new detachment, and yeah. So I think that, you know what? This is a 7th edition codex. So my first impressions are, of course, this is definitely a 7th edition codex. It has their own detachment and their benefits of having their own detachment. And then it's a summation of formations like Eldar and Necrons and Space Marines. And it's an update, obviously. It's a stronger codex than it was in 6th edition. It definitely is a stronger codex. It's more competitive. That being said, and I know I'm going to get flack for this codex is really boring. I'm going to say it. I feel that this codex is even more boring than the last codex. And the reason is supporting fire. I understand why GW put it in, and I've said this many times in my videos, it's a boring rule. Because, and why do I say boring? Because it makes a Tau player play a specific way and not deviate from it. There's very little wiggle room, because then to win, you feel like you have to use supporting fire. So what do? You turtle in a corner, you keep all your guys 6 inches away from each other, and it's really, really boring. It's boring to play, which I have played Tau with 6th edition. I'm just going to adjust the camera slightly. I have played Tau with since 6th edition, since they got their new supporting fire, and I found it to be boring. And I played against Tau a bunch of times, and even if I win or lose, regardless of the outcome, it just is a boring game. Because GW, the 7th edition is very focused on shooting. But GW has to remember that there are several phases of the game. For Warhammer 40k 7th edition, there's the movement phase, and with this codex you're going to see very little movement from a lot of your opponent, right? They won't use the movement phase very often. If they do, they're just going to counter it with a jump backwards to completely neutralize any movement that was made in the movement phase, unless you want to jump on towards an objective. Then there's the psychic phase. Obviously Tau have no psychers. Okay. Then there's the shooting phase, which is obviously where the Tau do like 99% of their activity is the shooting phase. And this codex is just a catalog, essentially, of a variety of ways to shoot your opponent. That being said, that's all it is. And then there's the assault phase, which the goal, after this codex, the goal of a Tau player will be to make sure that the assault phase never happens, right? The Tau player doesn't really want to assault you, and the Tau player doesn't want to be assaulted. So, supporting fire is still in the codex because it was an update. I didn't expect it to be removed, unfortunately. And it's even stronger with some of these formation rules. So, what's going to be a result? There's going to be no assault phase. Regardless of what your opponent brings, you're basically going to just line up, huddle in a corner or behind an Aegis defense line, being a Tau player, and your opponent is going to move towards you, and you're just going to wipe them off line by line by line by line. And what will be the result? A boring game. Because it's just only when 99% of your action happens in one specific phase, and then your opponent, same thing, right? So it will be a really boring game, I find. I think people are going to be frustrated playing against Tau, not because they're winning or losing, just because of how kind of boring the game will be. Because certain armies, demons, orcs, Tyranids, some Space Marine factions, really want to have an assault, right? And that's where a lot of the fun, the assault phase is where a lot of the fun of Warhammer 40k 7th edition happens. It's because when they're in close combat, they can hurt each other. It's where a lot of the hilarity happens. And that will not happen with this Codex a lot of the time. Because the Tau player's goal will be to huddle somewhere on the table, stay close together, maybe move in a giant blob, but I see it more as huddle in a corner and just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And these guys are going to shoot you, then 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 these guys are going to shoot you. And if you have anybody left that I can see, we'll see what happens, you know? And it's unfortunate because the Tau to me are a really cool army. They're one of the coolest looking army. I love the anime feel to them. They're one of the coolest themed armies. I love the look of them. I love the feel of them. But their play style, as I said, in my opinion, boring. That's it. Just to summarize some of the updates. Obviously, they got now a bunch of formations, which is their new detachment, which is really cool. Their new rules are even stronger, supporting fire. As I said, it's just going to lead to a really boring game. One of the big things is now that a lot of their big bads, their vehicles, and their monster creatures can be taken in squadrons and squads of 3. Huge. They got a new Lord of War, which is obviously the rules have been leaked, not leaked, just been shown in the past because the model's already been released. And again, you can take squadrons of this thing, and it's just nasty as heck. And smart missiles, which in my opinion are probably one of the most broken, not smart missiles, sorry, marker lights, which are probably the most broken, one of the most broken things in 40k, just got even more powerful because they work very well to synergize with the new big bad, and they can turn strength 8 into strength D on the missiles of this thing, which is just insane. Yeah, and another problem that makes this game really boring against Tau is that marker lights, which I'll discuss again in a future video, but marker lights are just as strong as they ever were, and the ability to remove cover after 2 marker lights on a squad is huge. Because cover is a part of the game, and a lot of armies rely on cover, i.e. orcs, Tyranids, some demons, Ravenwing. They all rely on cover. You know, many armies rely on cover, and cover is a part of the game. As I said, terrain is a part of the game. And the Tau have the ability to negate it, which makes it really just, as I said, boring. Because if I have guns, so wherever you are on the table, the Tau have guns that can shoot you because they don't require line of sight. They can remove cover, negating cover its existence, and they essentially remove a phase of the game, the assault phase. So it leads to me just a boring game. But I'm going to cover this Codex fairly. And as I said, it's a competitive Codex. It got some great updates. I just feel it's a boring army for that reason. Because if I see a Tau player, I know what they're going to do. They're going to turtle in a corner. And if they surprise me, I think I'm going to be surprised. Very rarely. I've only played 1 or 2 Tau against Tau where they didn't just turtle in a corner. But every game, they, of course, stayed within 6 inches of each other. Yeah. I don't know. It's just a dynamic that forces a specific strategy. Versus an army like Eldar, which is maneuverability. You know, you can play a really tactical game with Eldar. A lot of maneuverability, a lot of shooting, a lot of strategy. Tau, stay in a corner. You might win the game. You know, just basically, in a Maelstrom war game, blow your opponent out of the water. Don't try to score the objectives, just kill them. You know, Tau. So, let's start off with the Hunter Contingent, which is, I believe, the name of the new detachment for Tau. And once again, as I said, it is a summation of formations. Also, another thing, the Tau got a lot of cool new drones. I really did like the new drones. But, so, the restrictions are, this detachment must include at least 1 core choice, which is called the Hunter Cadre. And then for each core choice, you can include between 1 and 10 auxiliary choices in any combination. And you may also include up to 1 command choice. Only data sheets listed to the right may be included in this detachment. Command benefits, obviously, you get to reroll the result when rolling your warlord trait, which have not changed at all. They're the same warlord traits as before. I might go over them. I'm really debating on this Codex review if I should go over the old rules, but I think as a new Tau player watching this video, you will learn a lot if I actually covered the things rather than saying it's the same as before. So I might actually go into a lot of detail. But here's the fun part. Coordinated firepower. And this is just insane. Coordinated firepower. Whenever a unit from a hunter contingent selects a target in the shooting phase, any number of units, any number of other units from the same detachment can still shoot, can add their firepower to the attack. These units must shoot the same target, resolving their shots as if they were a single unit. This includes the use of marker light abilities. When 3 or more units combine their firepower, the firing models add 1 to their ballistic skill. So you can marker light them, and then everyone adds 1 to their ballistic skill firing at the same target. So this is huge, a huge benefit. Because so essentially your entire army can just choose to fire at a single target, buffing up their ballistic skill. So it's free marker lights, essentially, which then you can use the marker lights then to remove cover or to turn your strength 8 to D for their new big bad. That's huge. That's a huge benefit, right? Increased ballistic skill for shooting, for a shooting army that already gets an insane amount of shooting. Huge. That's a huge benefit. So we'll start off with there's the contingent headquarters, which are the HQ choices. They are 1 commander or commander of Shadowsun, 0 to 1 ethereal, or on Vow or on She, and 1 to 2 units of XV8 Crisis bodyguards. So it's a leader and bodyguards minimum requirement. Here's the core of your army, the Hunter Cadre. 1 commander, 0 to 1 Cadre Fireblade, 0 to 1 units of XV8 Crisis bodyguards for your leader, 3 to 6 units chosen of any combination of the following units. A breacher team, which they now, one of the changes to this codex is that the Fire Warriors got broken up to 2 teams depending on what gun you want them to have. Each of them have their own pros and cons. One has a better gun, one gets an invul save and a worse gun. That's pinning. So there's the breacher team, the strike team, or a Kroot carnivore team. So you need 3 troop choices. 1 to 3 units chosen in any combination of the following list: XV-25 stealth battlesuits, XV-8 crisis battlesuits, XV-95 ghost kill battlesuits, or XV-104 riptide battlesuits. So you need at least one of these things in your army. 1 to 3 units chosen in any combination of the following list: Pathfinder team, Piranha, Vespid, or drones. Obviously, it's going to be Pathfinders because they're the ones that give you marker lights, right? People are going to take probably 3 units of Pathfinders. You want the marker lights. And 1 to 3 units chosen in a combination of the following: XV-88 broadsides, hammerheads, storm surges, or sniper drones. And I'll be going over the benefits of each of these in the section that comes up. There's also the optimized stealth cadre formation: 2 units of XV-25 stealth battlesuits, 1 unit of XV-95 ghost kill battlesuits. The retaliation cadre: 1 commander, 3 units of XV-8 crisis battlesuits, 1 unit of XV-88 broadside battlesuits, 1 unit of riptide battlesuits. There's the allied advanced cadre: 4 units of Kroot carnivores, 2 units of Vespid stingwings. There's the fire-based support cadre: 2 units of XV-88 broadside battlesuits and 1 unit of riptides. There's the drone network, which is just a unit of drones. The air cast supporting cadre, which are the flyers: the Sunshark, 1 Sunshark bomber and 2 Razorback strike fighters. The assigned air cast asset: 1 AX-39 Sunshark bomber or 1 AX-3 Razor Shark strike fighter. The infiltration cadre. So a lot of choices here for these formations. Each one gets their own benefits. A lot of stuff. 3 Pathfinder teams, 2 units of XV-25 stealth battlesuits, 1 unit of TX-4 piranhas. The heavy retribution cadre: 1 unit of XV-95 ghost kill battlesuits and 2 units of storm surges, which are the new Lord of War. They're pretty expensive. This is an expensive formation. And then the armored interdiction cadre: 3 units of hammerheads, 1 unit of Skyray. So, cool stuff there. And that's about it I want to cover in this video because that's a lot right now. I just went over my first impressions. As I said, it's an improved version of the Codex, but as I said, it's going to promote a very boring strategy. And Tau players will win or they'll lose, but 99% of the thing will happen in the shooting phase. One small part of what should be a several phase game, you know, as I said. What else should I cover? There's special rules. The special rules are the same as before, but I'll go over them quickly. There's Bonding Knife Ritual, a unit consisting entirely of models with a special rule, not counting drones. Benefits from heroic morale, even if they are not accompanied by an independent character. There's Failure is not an option, which all friendly models with the Tau Empire faction within 12 inches of an ethereal uses leadership for fear, morale, pinning, and regroup tests. However, the ethereal is removed as a casualty. Your opponent gains 1 additional victory point. Fire Team. While this unit with a special rule includes 3 vehicles or monster creatures, all vehicles and monster creatures add 1 of their ballistic skills. So this is huge. This is the benefit of running squads of Riptides or any of the monster creatures or vehicles. You add 1 of their ballistic skill, and on top of that, if they're part of the Hunter Cadre, which they're going to be, or the Hunter contingent, they add another 1 to their ballistic skill. So everything's fired at like ballistic skill 5 or better. And as I said, this is just getting silly, the amount of firepower. And it's just the entire Codex is a catalog of various ways to shoot your opponent and avoid the assault phase. So as I said. And then there's supporting fire, obviously. When enemy unit declares a charge, all friendly models within a special rule within 6 inches of the charging target can choose to fire Overwatch. They can only fire Overwatch once per phase. And Warlord traits as normal. So yeah, I'll end here. I'm going to end here because I'll be going over a lot of the stuff in future videos. I'll do an in-part review. As I said, it's a good codex. It's an update. It's better than it was before, and it does fit 7th edition. It's much more in line with the other 7th edition codices. I just feel it's going to force a single strategy, which will be really boring for you and your opponent. But yeah, it's okay. So stay tuned for more parts. Next phase, I'll be going over the next video. I'll be going over the HQs and the Warlord traits and stuff. It'll be a very quick video. I'm going to be going over the rules for each one, but at a relatively quick pace because nothing is new for the HQs, for example. So I'll be just tackling one squad at a time. So thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this part. I'm going to keep being positive and talking about this codex. As I said, it's an improvement. This was just my thoughts. So thank you as always for watching. Till next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting.